yourself, speaker off.
Mechanism. And in today's session, we are going to focus on billing and revenue. And with my colleague Sanjeev, we're going to take you a little bit deep dive into how does the picture looks like, and then go from there. Now, I think one of the things I did want to start this with was what happens when an M&A happens, right? And what you will see on my next slide here is some recent M&A which have been announced, and some of them have kind of completed, some are in progress. Earlier this year, we saw Task doing a major announcement in the Middle East. Tawal has been doing some announcements in the Middle East and Europe. But what happens when a M&A happens, right? You are acquiring assets, but you're also acquiring the MSAs and the contracts. A lot of hidden value lies in the MSAs and the contracts. Typically, they are 10 to 30 year long. And as you look at that whole journey, you will see these MSAs getting cascaded, right? So if you notice this slide in front of you, what I'm trying to say is there's a TowerCo 1, which has been acquired by TowerCo 2, and it's not just inheriting the assets, but the contracts as well. And then you have TowerCo 2, which get acquired by TowerCo 3. Now you have a hierarchy of contracts getting acquired. Now, it is imperative for TowerCo 3 to manage both MSAs of Type A, Type B, and Type C, which means they will have long-term relationships. And these relationships could be 10 years, 15 years, and they will have to manage those MSAs between the same TowerCo and the operator. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because of changes in macro environment, you administer a whole slew of MSAs. And right now it's getting even more because you need to deal with a lot more complexity and manage that. And so I think those are some of the key points we have, and we will look into it. And some of the key points we look into it, let me get to them on the next slide so I can give you what we are going to cover today. Okay. You have a full floor? Okay. So I think let me give it off to Sanjeev at this point, and Sanjeev will walk us through what are the key aspects and take you through from there. Over to you, Sanjeev.
Thank you, Ankur, and thanks for setting up the context. So what makes billing accurately difficult? So primarily what I'm going to discuss today is from a billing perspective, from a revenue management perspective, that is TowerCo billing a complex? And if it is, then what makes it complex? From an agreement perspective, from input data, what is coming from a multiple other systems, such as your asset data, your site master data, how the configurability and the flexibility of handling the changes which are happening in the industry is very important. And what is the actual impact of handling all these changes at the end of the system, where the actual revenue is to be calculated, revenue is to be managed, and how the disputes are handled. Before I get into a detail on each of these items, I just want to have a quick poll just to engage with all of you. If you can, I'm just launching a poll. It's a small questionnaire, and I request all of you to just give a quick answer to it. You will be able to see a question with the options on your screen as of now. I hope it is visible to all of you. There is a quick question that what is your primary need related to the billing solution? And it's a multi-choice question. I can see the people are responding. Whether it's an automated billing process, accurate and timely invoicing, flexible billing models, and billing dispute resolution. I see, yes, thank you. I see 9 people have already responded to it out of 17. And the automated billing process as well as accurate time-based invoicing is reaching almost 50%. So I'll end this poll and share the results now. I hope you are able to see the results. The result is automated billing process, 54% people wants it, followed by the accurate and timely invoicing, which is very important so that you can generate the bills on time and send it accurately to the your customers. Flexible billing model has also come up 38%, and the billing dispute resolution is again 38%. People have voted. So we will touch upon almost all of these items in the next half an hour or so, uh, in the next subsequent slides. So the first of all, I want to discuss about the complex legal agreements, how it is important for having a shared common understanding between the different stakeholders, and how does it impact the overall billing perspective. Now, as we know that the business agreements, which are generally takes more than not only months, but sometimes it takes even years to negotiate between the operator as well as from tower co perspective, and it takes the entire year to negotiate and to finalize all the fine prints. The clauses are written in very fine prints many times, and they are written in different sections. So how do we distill the business part of those fine prints and convert them into that which clause is to be billed and which clause is to be converted into the revenue? Different clauses have different impacts. Some of them are to be addressed serially, some of them are to be done parallelly. What condition to be used and what boundary condition is to be addressed is very difficult to derive directly from the business agreement document, which is generally written by the legal people supported by the various business people. Mostly what we have seen is the clauses such as related to the discounts, escalations, foreign currency conversions, amendments, multiple services. These are written in the different sections, and the knowledge related to the entire agreement generally resides with one or two people, or it is generally written in a one Excel sheet, which is very hard for reference. And in case anything is to be referenced, people generally go back and refer back to the one particular document and or to the person. But there is a very limited referenceability which is available. And as time passes, let's say if the time has passed by a couple of years, after 4 years, 5 years, is that document referenceable, readily available? If yes or not, if the person is available or not, that becomes very difficult. But how does that converts into a shared understanding between the multiple stakeholders? Because the businesses, the business people from a revenue management team, from a billing team, as well as the people who are facing the customer, they need to keep on referring those clauses for a different purpose. The billing person may be referring it to generate the actual charges, actual bills, while the same clause will be required by the salesperson or the account manager who is handling the customers and justifying the bills and handling the disputes with them. So they also need to refer the same thing. More or less, what we have seen is the interpretation of those clauses may vary from person to person, as well as the interpretation may change over a period of time. For example, today I may be interpreting the same clause in one way, and as the time passes, the interpretation of the same clause may change over a period of time. So how do we create a common understanding between or a shared understanding between the various stakeholders? And is this an important aspect? What we have understood from a various experience dealing with a large number of operators worldwide and read through almost close to hundreds of different agreements at different point of time, that having a common understanding is very important. What we have seen is that some of the operators, some of the towercos have tried to convert the business agreements, the legal agreements, into the common understanding which can be consumed by the different stakeholders. But it is not easy to maintain it, and it is not easy to keep updating it. The reason being, the new MSAs keeps on getting added, the new addendums keeps on getting added, the new services are getting added. That means those clauses needs to be keep on updating. And is there still a common understanding that is missing? And in my couple of experiences, what I've seen is people have tried it. They have created the Word documents. They have created the Excel sheets. First of all, it is hard to maintain. The second is it becomes such a long document that reading it and understanding it takes a very, very long time. So I'll give one example that how and where it triggered it. In one of our assignment with one a large operator who had a multiple countries based deployments, they had a loading slab where the loading slab was like a 0 to 2 is one amount, 2 to 4 was another amount, and 4 to 6 was another amount. And the total accumulated value is to be done. Mostly at the start of the contract, it was falling in between the 0 to 2. But as the time was progressing, it started moving to the 2 to 4 or a 4 to 6 slab. And there was a different understanding by the different people. Like the salesperson was assuming that the lower slab is a less than. That means up to 2, anything which is 1.999 is falls in the first slab and 2 falls in the second slab, while the person who was doing the coding, he was assuming up to 2 is on the first slab and 2 onward is on the second slab. So it was a minor glitch, but it impacted a significant revenue leakage in that particular case. And how what we happen is, over a period of time in the last 15 years of experience working with different operator, we have developed a proprietary methodology to visualize the agreements into a mind maps, which can be easily referenced by the different stakeholders from management level, executive level people to the actual end users, and was also become one of the point where the customers and the account managers were using the same document and were using it for the calculation verification perspective, and it was helping them to reduce the gap in the understanding drastically. Moving on to the second point, which is very important from any billing management system or a revenue management system, is the asset data, which is coming as an input from the other operation system. What is the need and what is the importance of the asset data accuracy at any point of time? Now, from a billing perspective, the revenue manager perspective, the last person which stands between the quote or the order to cash is the bill generation. Means unless you are able to generate a right bill and send it to the customer and accept it by the customer, you won't be able to recognize the revenue. Anything which is not billed, whether it is done appropriately or not, it remains incomplete from an overall value change perspective. What we have seen is the millions of dollars have been spent to get the correct and timely, transparent information from the sites. That was primarily from a mobile application perspective or deploying a lot of RMS and IoT sensors on the sites. And these days, even drones are being used. That what is actual situation or what is the visibility on the site, what information, what particular equipment is getting added, what particular changes are taking place on particular site. But is that still coming on time? There are actual ground situation in the tower industry is quite different, where though the events may be taking place on let's say on the month of March, actual equipment is getting added on the month of March in 2023 on the site by the operator. But by the time it is reported back to the back office teams and ready for the bill, that yes, this entity can be made billable, it may take couple of weeks, couple of months, and in some cases we have seen it takes even couple of quarters and goes up to 9 months or even sometimes more than that. And the prime reason for this to take place is One is the information which is coming from the site, not necessarily accepted by the both the parties. There are conflicts that yes, the information, the equipment on the site has been installed, whether it has been RFI'd, whether it has been RFS, billing commencement date should be correct or not. So all those things sometimes takes much longer time. But eventually, whatever the delay is going to impact the revenue. The revenue gets delayed. So yet there are a lot of reporting delays are there, but ultimately, unless you are able to bill it, you won't be able to recognize the revenue for the same. Now, once it is available from a billing perspective, from available, are you able to bill it backdated? Does your billing system allow the backdated billing? And if yes, for 1 quarter, 2 quarters, for how many long you can go for the back billing, the catch-up billing? And what are the trends available? Can you control the back billing or not? Is it available in the billing system or not? That is what it's normally yet to be seen. The billing also, hello, am I audible? Yeah. Is billing the new data points which are coming from a billing perspective, like the new services which are getting launched. For example, you may have seen the fiber is coming in, the IBS is coming in, and the new service keeps on getting added very, very rapidly. So is the asset data and the input data, which is producing lot of new data streams, are you able to recover? Are you able to receive that data streams? And yes, is your systems capable to take new data streams quickly enough and do the billing quickly? What we have seen in the last 15 years when we started working with our original version of the billing system, we were getting mostly the data related to a 2G system, 2G or a 3G technology. Over a period of time, 4G came in, 5G came in, uh, fiber came in, IBS is coming in. The newer revenue models, such as pass-through, got changed to the fixed energy model from a power perspective. A power as a service started coming in. So the data stream for all those have started coming in from the site. What we did is, over a period of time, when the application was done initially, it was not 100% on the supporting the all the new data streams. So what we did internally, we worked out that the new application is to be developed. And about 5 years ago, we re-architected the entire system from ground up, and we stopped, make the old system sunset. The new system, which was developed, was supporting the multiple billing models, such as the advanced billing, back billing, retrospective billing, etc. The third item, what I want to discuss about the low system flexibility and the configurability, that how the configurability of a billing system is important from a master agreement perspective. The As I mentioned earlier, master agreements generally take more than a year to negotiate, and sometimes they take even much more than that time. 10 to 15 years is generally the expected life of the agreement. But do they remain same? Though the original agreements may remain same, but the actual situation on the site is changing drastically. There is a lot of new technologies keeps on coming in, new revenue models such as power as a service, pass-through models are coming in, new input sources are coming in, new services keeps on getting added. So does the MSA, the master agreement supports the same? Are you able to take the new parameters into your charging mechanism? Does the billing allows for the new parameters to be added? Does the new formulas can be added? Normally, the billing systems or the wherever the application is developed, the formulas are written in the code. They are not written outside, which can be changed so easily. So As a part of the engagement with the customer, what we have seen is most of the finance people, revenue assurance people, or a revenue management people, they are very much comfortable dealing with the MS Excel or the Excel sheet because there they have a flexibility to add a new field. They have a flexibility to create a new formula on their own and easily calculate and see the impact how it is coming up. So what we did is we created an expression builder, which is almost like an Excel formula based builder, and user can even copy the formula and put it there. And also they can use the hypothetical data and calculate the value what is coming up. They can even create the charges and design their own charges. And this has helped the users drastically in modeling the different financial models. The last item which I want to touch upon is primarily on the dispute resolution, that how and why the dispute resolution is very important. In the telecom operator, the telco and towerco relationship is like a tug of war, where there is uh, some sort of a friction on the both the sides, and the conflict between the two sides is related to the billing disputes. That yes, you have charged this particular record or this particular equipment. Is this correctly charged? Is this charged for the right appropriate time? Is this charge has been escalated properly or not? And in order to manage these disputes, a lot of management time share and mind share also goes there. The revenue recognition only gets done once the charges or the bills are accepted by the customer. Unless the charges or the bills are accepted by the customer, mostly the revenue recognition does not take place because it will get into the dispute and then you will have to give the credit note back and it goes on for a multiple cycle. And 80 to 90% of the revenue mostly is non-disputable. Only 10 to 15% of the components, such as your amendments, the new additions which are happening on the sites, or the CPI, or the foreign exchange currency conversions, they are mostly comes under the dispute. But do you hold the entire 100% bill from a payment perspective or a revenue recognition perspective? Or do you want to just hold that only 10 to 15% of the components where the disputes are and keep on tracking them later on, subsequently? Generally, what we have seen is the towercos and telcos have devised a way where they keep on making the payment against the bill on account. So they keep on making the payments on account and do the reconciliation of what is not paid and what was in dispute on a subsequent period. And this dispute sometimes goes on for a month, for a quarter, and even for a couple of quarters. I have seen where the dispute goes on for more than 9 months or almost close to a year, where these disputes related to couple of sites, couple of components are there, but each component, record is actually a revenue. Now, how do you track that particular each different dispute item? Normally, billing systems, they produce the bills and then they pass on the bills into the ERPs. ERPs normally maintain the state of the record. They do not allow for you to go backdated and make the corrections and or do a tracking on record by record. So what we have done is that we treat each record which is coming into the billing system as a life, that it has a life, that it has been inserted into the system, and now it goes through the different stages of life from a validation stage to a generation stage where the bills gets generated, they gets internally approved, they goes to the customer reviews and approves it, a customer can make a partial payment, and they can make a payment, 100% payment. In case there is some adjustment or write-off to be done, that gets handled. So the complete life of that record gets done unless it is either fully paid or is actually approved from a rejection by the both the sides. So that way, the complete tracking of each records gets done within the system and not outside the system. While what we have seen is it is generally being done in the Excel sheet, and then it becomes very difficult to track which record was actually paid and what is not paid, how much not paid, because it is running into months and quarters. For example, if you have, let's say, only 1,000 sites, and each site has three components, and each component needs to be built on a monthly basis, that means 3,000 records to be built for a period of, let's say, 6 months, which becomes 18,000 records are independent billing entity. Then each needs to be tracked separately, that what has been billed, what is not, sorry, what has been paid, what is not paid, and how much it has been paid. Mostly what we have seen, this is being done in the Excel sheet outside the systems. And that is where it creates a problem. Before we proceed forward, I just want to have another quick poll. I am just launching a second poll where it is you may be able to see the second question on the screen. How would you best describe the importance of a specialized billing system to you? And we will take about a minute to let every one of you give a response to it. I'm seeing almost 55% participants have responded to it, requesting others also to respond. We are about to close the poll. Okay, I'm closing the poll and sharing the results. You may be able to see that ensuring accurate revenue recognition is the topmost importance of specialized billing solution, and followed by the other three almost at the equal level: managing complex billing structure, integrating billing system seamlessly, and optimizing operational efficiency. Thanks everyone for giving your inputs. We'll move forward. The next is that why TowerCo needs a specialized billing system. What are the key attributes of a good billing system? And before I come to the slide that what are the various parameters, just a quick point. Many times the point comes to that the traditional ERP systems can also be a part, can also do a specialized billing activity, such as for the required for the telecom tower companies. What we have seen is mostly the ERP-based solutions have accounting as a basic chassis, which is the basis of the ERP system is they expect a record do not change. There are credits and debits are which are generally given, and their backdated information does not change. While actual scenario in the telecom industry is far from little different. There are changes which are happening, and the backdated changes which are happening, which needs to be accommodated and needs to be handled, and the changes are happening much faster than what we can easily expect. So that is where it is the need is, does your solution, whatever you are deploying, is it starting from a ground up, or is it coming with a already 80% or a 60% level where the things which are required specifically for the telecom tower industry, such as your configurability from an agreement perspective, your backdated billing, retrospective billing, or a different revenue models, are they coming as a standard models within the system, so that the launch or the starting of those services can be done fairly quickly. So that is what gets done from a specialized billing system. Some of the key attributes of the any specialized billing systems, such as a high configurability, should be there, so that you can address or handle not only the current needs of the master agreements, but the future needs that may come from a multiple services, such as your the services which may be coming up now. And with the AI and the ML coming in, the newer data inputs are coming in, the newer different models are coming in. So is the system scalable to take the new inputs without changing the core of the application and apply them into the new charge logics and then give you a newer outputs? Are those functionalities scaled? Does it support the multiple products? For example, you have fiber products which that may come up. Currently, the users are offering. Initially, it started with the rental service like a steel and grass, but later on the power service came in. Then the fiber coming in. Then the inbuilt IBS services coming in. The RAN sharing, the data center, and so many other services which are coming in. Can the same system scale to those newer service and newer products? And also, the important aspect is this easily integratable on inbound and outbound side? Because if it is not integrated, then it creates a silo from data going out of the application and into the manual mode. And as soon as it goes into the manual mode, it has a potential of introducing with the human errors. The next I want to just one slide I want to talk about is on the customers that I'll just take a one customer case study. This is talking about one of the customers where we did the deployment of our billing system for their Pan-Africa rollout. The customer was headquartered in the US with a global presence. Uh, when we did the initial deployment with the customer, they were using mostly the Excel-based applications for that specific service billing. And as part of the deployment activity, we did the deployment for multiple countries for them. And they were able to realize there is a increased revenue realization that has happened about 7%, with the 20% of the disputes reduced over a period of time. And the 90% input data compliance also improved. Now, if you have, let's say your billing for the year is $100 million, and generally this is what we have seen is 5 to 7% of the revenue realization we are able to detect in the overall deployment. And against $100 million worth of revenue, which is being billed in a year, your savings or your new revenue realization could be up to a $5 to $7 million in the year. Next, I want to hand over back to Ankur to conclude.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Uh, I think we've shared a lot of aspects of the complexities of billing, what can be done, where some of today's challenges lie. And I think as you set about figuring out what you would do with a billing system or how you can harden your revenue management practice, I think there's a lot which can be done. And I think the big question for you is how and where do you prioritize and how do you prioritize? So in that context, I wanted to give you a little bit background on about us at Infosec, what we do, and also I will then talk on my next slide on possible ways we can engage and help you with. So what you see in a typical uh, operator or a tower call, you have a management system which is really your ERP. It could be SAP, it could be Oracle, or it could be something else. And that's level one of what this picture is showing you in front of you. And on level two is our Infosec solution and stack. The level three, importantly, is what you're getting in through your IoT sensors. So you may have RMS from a number of providers. We put some names around there, some of the common RMS gateway providers. Then in the center, we have names of rectifier providers. So if you already have a rectifier coming in from one of them, we can pick in that data directly. And then on the right, you see the MNO OSS. So as an MNO, you may have an OSS, and you may have it from one of the leading uh, OEM providers such as Ericsson, Nokia, Huawei, and others. and we can then pull in the alarms directly from there. So this is something where the data is coming in, and the infosec layer in the middle can pull that data in. And then some of the solutions we solve for are alarm management, trouble ticketing, escalations, reporting. And the module there is called IROC on the left in the center. Then we can do operations management, which can be in the area of preventative maintenance, corrective maintenance, work orders, incident management. And this we do it through our I maintain module. And through that same module, we also address for access management. And in around access, you could be looking at escalations, planned activities, key management, etc. And all of this information is then funneling into energy. Now, energy has become a hot spot globally, right from UN SSG goals to the carbon emission goals, to also the cost of energy when you see a lot of solar coming in. So energy is a hot spot, and we actually bring in a lot of knowledge around energy and fueling, grid consumption, tenant. And all of this also leads to data analysis, site alarm, consumption, performance management, predictive. And then all of this data towards our right gets into billing. So what we just saw about is billing. And specifically in billing, there can be types of billing. It can just be a macro tower. It could be a power billing, or it could be 5G, 6G, DAS kind of billing. So I think there's a lot of things happening in that space. The other two things we also address is project management, which means when you actually get a service request and an order coming in, we can track that, and we can also manage for leases. So what you see in front of you is like a tower management system. At Infosec, we take a lot of pride in kind of having deep domain knowledge in it and working with our customer partners to make their journey much more successful and meaningful. So I think that's where we wanted to share with you about Infosec. And on my next slide, I'm going to talk to you about uh, potentially what you may want to consider is like a discovery workshop. So you could, as a first step, you may consider, happy to talk to you in terms of a discovery workshop where we can work with you to define the objectives specifically for billing, but it could be for something else as well. And in terms of billing, some of the key things would be what your objectives could be. We asked earlier on in the polls what your objectives are. Optimizing revenue was one key element which showed up. So it could be around optimizing revenue. It could be around processes and to improve accuracy. One of the key things we have noticed is when it comes to billing, there's a lot of management will required and commitment required to ensure that the billing and the revenue assurance project will get through. Often we are talking to the CEOs or CFOs just because of the impact and how it shows up. And sometimes it shows up on the stock exchange if you're a listed company. If you're a privately held company, it shows up in the board meeting. So any changes in revenue are very, very significant, right? The other thing we have noticed that when you look at billing projects, the mortality is very high. I mean, you set up a billing project, but often we've seen customers do not realize the outcome. And we've had customers coming back to us after 3 years, sometimes after 5 years, saying, they did went on the billing journey, but that did not work out for them. And sometimes it happens, you are in there to save millions of dollars, but suddenly you make a decision saying, but this particular option looks like a lower cost option, and you went in for it, not realizing what you could be missing if you went into the whole journey. So I think the reason I'm saying it's extremely important. What is your objectives? Is your objectives to save 5 or 10%, or is your objectives just to get a system out there, right? And then when you do get a system, you would have to deal with processes, people, and the environment. The other thing which we can do is we can help you assess your current state. With most customers, we've noticed that they know billing is a problem, but for them to be able to figure out where the problem exists, is it a system problem, a process problem, ability to read agreements, or is it just an interpretation problem? So it could be different levels of problems, and that's where we can help you figure out. We have also helped customers with auditing and reviewing MSAs and helping conduct interviews with the stakeholders so that you can arrive at a common shared understanding. The third part is identify a desired state and then work with you to figure out what your desired state will be. Where do you want to get there? And after that, we can prepare a gap identification report. We can also prioritize and sequence how you should go there. And then at the end of that, should you decide to get into an implementation exercise, we can help make the roadmap for you. Either we could do it ourselves, or you may decide to work with somebody else elsewhere. So this is something which we are in the process of starting off with a business consulting practice, and we'll be happy to take in some of you if you want to have that dialogue. We'll be very happy to jump in and discuss with you and make the journey much more meaningful for you. So with that, I think me, Sanjeev, and Pooja are done. I will turn it back to Pooja, but happy to take in more questions.
Thank you, Ankur. Thank you, Sanjay. We'll just open the floor for questions now. Please feel free to ask your questions.
Yeah, you may also want to use the board in the chat, or if you want to speak, either is fine.
Hi, Sabri. I'll just give you access to the mic once again. Okay, there is a question. How do we go about planning the discovery workshop? I think Ankur just explained in detail. You want to take up the question, Sanjeev, Ankur? What's the question, sir? So the question is, how do we go about planning the discovery workshop? Okay. So from planning the discovery workshops, what we need to do is we need to do a first level of engagement to understand the who are the potential business users who are actually involved in the overall bidding process. This may range from your some of the people who are meeting the customers, from our sales people or the account managers, the commercial team, as well as the people who are generating the bills and approving the bill. So multiple business users are there. So we need to identify who are the business users who are involved in the overall bidding process. And then we will generally do interview sessions and a workshop with them. Couple of workshops, couple of interview sessions. And whatever the documents are available, we use those documents and the actual practices, because generally the actual practice versus what is written in the documents. We have seen that
there is a variance between the two. So we preferably wants to find the actual practice on the ground instead of just going through the documents. And then we share our gap analysis report that these are the places where the potential gaps are there, and what are the places where the optimizations and efficiencies can be improved.
Thank you, Sanjeev. I think that answers your question. We'll stay here for some time, so please feel free to ask your question. Okay.
Pooja, can I ask question?
Sabri, I think you have permission to speak. You are on unmute right now.
Yes. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? No.
Yeah, we can hear you, Sabri, but little feeble. If you can speak little louder.
Yes, I just want to say that we are we are saying that one of our value proposition of our solution comparing to the existing billing solutions in the market is considered our platform as the most configurable solution. Can you elaborate more on this, please? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Habdi. So your question is that we say that our solution is very configurable, and what makes it highly configurable? That's the question that you are asking.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sabri, for raising the question. Yeah, the configurability means, is it allowing the user to select a parameter, or is it allowing the user to add a new parameter? Another level of a configurability is mostly in the billing. What happens is the actual formula or the logic, the calculation formula is written inside the code. The parameters are allowed to be selected. What we have done is we have extended that particular part and allowed user to even create their own formulas. So they can create their own formulas and insert insight into the billing engine, core engine logics. And that's where the configurability comes in. So it is not only supporting the current logics and the current formulas, but it is also supporting the possible future formulas that may come based on the new service, new revenue models that may come in.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Fabri.
Okay, so you can, if you have any suggestions, feedback, or any more questions, please feel free to write back to us. Thank you. Have a good day.